Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing an acrylic painting tutorial. This is a 3-color palette tutorial. As you can see here we have red, white, and black. This is just done on an 8x10 canvas. I was using professional grade paint, but you can easily use dollar store paints or student grade paints for this one. So the 3 colors I was using, if you'd like to know exactly, are the Mars Black, the Golden brand, Titanium White of the Golden brand, and Cadmium Red Medium Hue of the Grumber Shape brand. Each of these were bought at Michael's, along with the canvas. The brushes I used was this one. This is just a big #1 square brush. It's actually one of the cheap ones at Michael's in one of those big packs. I love using it to block in the backgrounds. Then I used a #2 round brush for the tree trunks, and I used a coarse hair, square flat brush for the leaves, for the texture of the leaves, and for the leaves on the ground I used just a small round. I can't remember what this one is. It's less than a #1. Oh, it's a 0. It's a zero round. For the leaves on the front there. So I hope you do this tutorial. If you do go through the whole thing, I'd love to see your photo of it in the comments below. But let's get into it. We're going to start with just the black and the white, and we're going to do the background and the foreground here, and then work our way into the trees. And so with the trees, or with the background here, we're going to have thicker trees on this side and more faded on this side, and then in the middle it's going to kind of be mostly bare, and so we want the middle to be the lightest and it to be darker on the outsides. So you can just grab some black on your brush, just have some on there, and I'm just going to start around on the sides, just spreading it through like that. Now that I've got a little bit on there, I'm going to grab some white. There you go, got some white. And we're just going to mix that in. And basically all we're doing here is just going back and forth horizontally just to mix or blend the two together. Again, we want this half in the light and the middle to be lighter than the right side, so I'm going to bring in some more white here. Some more. And since this is more of an abstract painting, you can have the texture of the brush left in there. You can blend it in more just by keep on going back and forth like I'm doing there. It really depends on the look that you want for it. But the closer we get to the bottom, for sure, the lighter we want it to be. And here I just have some marks. That's just where I want the bottom to be. It's about 1.5 inches up, and then those are where I want 2 of the most foreground trees to start. Alright, there's your background. Like I said, a little bit dark on this side, lighter in the middle, lighter on that side, but still dark up in the corner there. Now for the foreground, I'm just going to make a little mark here, if I can. That's where I want one tree for sure. That's where I want another, just in case I cover up those marks. The foreground, you're going to want it to be kind of one of these medium or grays, and so we're going to get some white to start us out there, get some black. Now if you want, you can create more of a textured surface by dabbing like this. We're going to be adding some leaves over top of that in the end. Just kind of scrub a little bit on there first, and then you can go in and dab it. And the further back we go, the lighter we want it to be as well. So I'm going to get a bit more white onto my brush. And then also dab that in here as well, that lighter color. Alright, so there's your background and your foreground. So now we're finished with this brush for now, so you can put that into some water. I've got a mason jar here. I like using mason jars. And then I've just got some rags to dry them off after. So now we're going to use this brush, and we're going to create the effect that there are trees that are farther away, and then we're getting closer and closer and closer until we get to this front tree here. And so to create that effect, we just need to make them more gray, lighter than the foreground trees. So to do that, we're just going to mix some black and some white together. I'm going to use a palette knife to mix the two together, and I will show you that here. Alright, so I've got my black and my white there. That's what I've been using so far for the painting. So I'm just going to take some of this white. More white than black. Black's pretty powerful too. It's like already I can tell you that that's going to be too dark. But that's okay, we'll probably use that tone later. So I'm just going to take a little bit away from that and add some white. You can compare that to the painting. I still want some to be a little bit lighter. That's looking nice and nice. Now you can see we've got 3 tones, which is good. That's what I was going to want to make in the first place. And this lightest tone will be used in the background for the farthest away trees. Then as you get closer, they get darker, all the way to almost black. And then we'll probably use some of the pure black on the very most foreground tree. Alright, so for the trees, I'm using this brush, the round one. I'm going to start with the ones that are in the back, so the lightest ones, so I'm getting some of that light. And we're going to put one in over here. And if you can just barely see it, that's the whole point. We don't want much of it to be seen. And as we get higher there, I'm kind of adding some of that darker gray into it, so it continues to blend, because that's what we want it to do. Now I'm going to move to the next gray. We're going to use that one right here. since this one is a little bit closer to, I'm going to make the trunk a little bit thicker. Now we can use that medium, the first degree that we actually made over on this side. And I'm going to go back over some of these, and we're going to add just a little bit of that lighter highlight to the left side of the trees, because it's as if our light source is coming from the middle here, or from the left side. So give them a little bit of a reflection on that side there. And here you can do kind of as many trees as you would like. I'm going to be adding in probably 3 or 4 more. Alright, so from here, as you can see, I've just added a few more trees of different colors in. The darkest trees, to make them seem more in the foreground, what you can do is then actually bring them down and plant them right there in the front. With these medium ones, I'm going to bring them down just a hair, and that will help those ones look like they're a little bit closer than the ones behind them. So from there, we might go back and touch them up a little bit. If you really want to, you can make those lines more perfect for the trunks of the trees, since it is more of just a beginner abstract type piece, impressionistic piece. I'm not too worried about that. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to have the background leaves actually be still a gray, whitish blackish, back through up into these foreground trees, and then they're going to be red, and we're going to put some red leaves onto the ground there as well. So I added some red to my palette, but we're going to continue to use some of these grays here first for the leaves, and then we'll get into using the red for the very foreground leaves. Alright, so for those back ones, for the furthest back leaves, we are going to use some of the second lightest gray. I just have some on my brush there, and we're just going to be dabbing it on, and that'll give it the texture of leaves. But that light color is going to help it remain as if it was in the back. So for the back ones, if you were really looking at it, they would be a little bit lower. So I'm actually going to switch for the leaves. I'm actually going to use this brush instead. It's very coarse, and it'll work good for just dabbing quickly to get the looks of the little brushes, or the little leaves, sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some pure white, I'm going to grab some pure black, Mix it a little bit together so you can kind of see on the end of the brush, black and white. And then we're going to do what we were doing before, but just with this brush instead. And once it kind of starts going together too much, you can go back down, dab, and do it all over again. If you want to, the dabs that you do closer to the middle here can have more white in it, as if it's getting more reflection than the ones that are over here. Then you can do darker over here or up top. Alright, so as you can see, I added a tiny bit of red. I'm going to grab some red now onto this brush, and we're going to start dabbing that in over top. Now if you feel like you covered up too much of the leaves in the background, then what you can do is rinse off your brush, dry it off. I actually ran out of white on my palette, so I'm just going to add a little bit more here. And you can dab that in underneath. Add a little bit of black to this red, just for the outsides here, to kind of give it more of that darker look on the outsides. Well, now we're going to take this brush, we're actually going to use it this time, get some of that red, and then underneath of these front trees, you're just going to add in some red leaves on the ground. And by adding smaller ones in the back, that makes it appear as if they are farther away than the larger leaves in the front. Thanks for going through this tutorial with me today. If you did do the whole thing, I'd love to see your results. You can post them in the comments below or send me a message with a photo. That would be awesome. If you have any suggestions of future tutorials or things you'd like to see on my channel, just let me know. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to give this one a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next one. And we'll see you next time on Brian Still an Artist.